This week on the procrastination, we are going to be taking a closer look at Jurassic World. Let's jump straight into the video. So, first of all, let's talk about the characters. Before anything else, let's talk about the characters. So, some of the characters that we have are Claire Dearing, we have Owen Grady, we have Zach, we have Gray, we have Hoskins, we have Masrani, we have Barry. First of all, I mentioned Claire Dearing. Claire Dearing is basically like a manager that overlooks the operations that takes place within Jurassic World. Okay, the owner of Jurassic World, his name is Simon Masrani, and he's played by Irfan Khan. Claire Dearing is played by Bryce Howard. And then we have Hoskins. Hoskins is part of another organization that's under Masrani. Masrani has another company, and Hoskins happens to be under that company. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, Hoskins is part of that company. And then we've got Owen Grady, and then we have Barry as well. So those two are animal experts. Owen Grady was an ex-military soldier, but he's now an animal expert, and he has these velociraptors who he looks after, who basically he trains to listen to his command. Then other characters start to eye in to that, and Barry is just his kind of assistant. He works with Owen to look after the velociraptors. So now that we got those out of the way, and by the way, Zach and Gray are the nephews of Claire. The most significant characters in this film have to be Masrani, Hoskins, Claire, and Owen. I know a lot of people probably not going to agree because Zach and Gray are main characters, but are they significant? Not that much. I mean, the most significant character out of all the ones I just named has to be Owen, because Owen's the one who in the end really kind of gives everybody the tip, the expertise, because he's the animal expert, but you know what I mean. So he's the one that kind of races against time to take out the dinosaur and kind of bring this to a conclusion, right? And yeah, so now that we know the characters, let's learn about the plot. What happens in this film? Why is it important? So you know what? Let's find out. So now the plot of this film is this. Okay, so they have a park. There's a park called Jurassic World, and in this park, the dinosaurs, they are all genetically engineered, which means what? It means that they have characteristics, they have extra characteristics which are not natural to them. Okay, so an example of a dinosaur that's genetically engineered, and that's the central focal point of this film, is the Indominus Rex. It is made up of Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you also have part Velociraptor as well. I'm pretty sure there's some other species that they used as well, but anyways, so they made this dinosaur in a lab, and what happens is that as they gave this dinosaur characteristics they wanted to, the dinosaur also developed characteristics which they did not know about, and which they didn't want the dinosaur to have in the first place. And that's what leads everything to start going downhill. So what happens? Well, Masrani goes and visits the paddock where this dinosaur, the Indominus Rex, is, and he goes with Claire, and he wants to see it because he's not seeing it, right? So he goes in, they start talking about this, the structure of the paddock and why it has not been open to the public yet, why it's been delayed by a few months. And eventually they go inside, they have a look around, and they see the dinosaur, not very much of it, just a little bit. And then Masrani is happy with it, but what he says is that he tells Claire that she needs to talk to Owen, and she needs to bring him in and let him evaluate the structure of the paddock to see whether or not it's secure enough to contain the dinosaur, because this is the biggest dinosaur they have in the entire park. So when he turns up, things start to go wrong, and the reason why is because when when he turns up, the dinosaur, so what they do, they lower a piece of meat, and they're waiting, nothing happens. Claire goes up to the window, she starts tapping it, nothing. And as soon as that happens, like literally 5 seconds after, she looks to the left-hand side, the far left-hand side of the room is where the security guard is sat. He has these computers, these screens, and on the screens were thermal cameras, and basically the warnings are popping up. Now this dinosaur somehow manages to develop a characteristic where it's able to avoid thermal radiation cameras, which means that those cameras cannot detect the dinosaur, and that's what happens. So the camera start to pop up with warnings that not detected, and then on the opposite side of the room you have Owen Grady looking up at the wall, and he sees these claw marks, right, which then he suspects means that the dinosaurs escaped. Now with the warnings from the cameras are not detecting the dinosaur anymore, and there's also claws on the wall, they suspect that the dinosaurs escaped. So Claire quickly gets into a car, she rushes over to the control room, and on her way there she phones a character called Lowry, And Lowry, she asks him, she says, where is the dinosaur? Where is the Indominus Rex? And then he, he goes onto the control board, and when he searches up where the dinosaur is, when he looks it up, he's like, what are you talking about? The dinosaur is in the paddock. He's not going anywhere. It's in the paddock. It's in there. And Claire's like, it can't be. We were just there a minute ago. And then the madness begins, because inside the cage, what they decided to do was Owen, a engineer, and the security guy decided they're going to go and have a look at these claw marks, which was a very, very, very bad idea, because when they did that, what they didn't realize was the dinosaur was in there. And Lowry spots them on the screen, because there's a camera inside, of course, there are many cameras inside the paddock. He spots that there are 3 people within the cage, right? So Vivian quickly then contacts the security guard via radio and lets them know that the dinosaur's in there with them. They need to get out. So they try to escape. It doesn't work well. For the engineer gets eaten up, and then the security guard makes the decision, and he has to do this if he wants to escape. He opens the main gate, and he manages to run away. So the doors began to close, right? So they started opening, and then Masrani's like, need to close the door. So Lowry hit the close button, and the doors, because they're so big, they were closing slowly. Owen manages to get out just about, and then the dinosaur manages to, just about get into the gap to prevent the doors from closing, and it manages to escape its paddock, which was not great for anybody else, because this dinosaur has been in isolation all this time, and it's, it has the characteristics which are not natural to that dinosaur. And then from then onwards, the dinosaur basically goes around causing absolute havoc and mayhem. And then meanwhile, all this happening, Zach and Gray are exploring the Jurassic World theme park, right? Because again, nobody knows, the tourists don't know that this has happened, right? Because Masrani said we need to keep this on the quiet, we need to keep them on the low. And so, so they don't know about this. So they're, going around, and they're still touring up the place and exploring it, which is okay up until a certain point, which is when, well, what happens is that as a desperate measure, as an emergency protocol, they sent out a team of specialists with these non-lethal weapons. Owen turns up to the control room. He sees this happening, and he warns them that you have to use lethal weapons. You have to kill this thing. Non-lethals are not going to work. He says that, but they don't listen. Masrani's like, we spent $trillions on this dinosaur. We're not just going to kill it. So they send in the emergency unit, goes in to find the dinosaur and basically neutralize it. So not kill it, but they want to neutralize it and then take it back into the paddock or get it to another secure paddock. Well, when they go there, they find a piece of its skin, and when Hamada goes to pick up the piece of flesh, he turns it around, he finds the tracker in there, because the dinosaur managed to claw out the tracker. And then all the team dies because the dinosaur doesn't leave, it's still in that location, and the entire unit gets wiped out. Owen leaves because he gets pissed off, because he has no power, and he's like, you need to shut down the park, you need to get these people, you need to evacuate them immediately. She's not listening. She's like, you don't have power here. He just walks out. He's like, okay, whatever, you do whatever, right? And then this is when Claire starts to panic, because when she realizes the dinosaur's now gone, it's now rogue, she calls her assistant Zara, and Zara's assistant, who's meant to be looking after Zack and Gray, and she basically tells her that I don't know where they are. They ran off, I don't know where they are. So Claire begins to panic now, because oh my god, the dinosaur's out, my nephews are out, they're gonna get harmed. And then what she does is she then says that we need to shut down the northern part of the park, so northern side. Coincidentally, Zack and Gray happen to be on that side of the park. And so what ends up happening is that she goes to Owen, and she tells Owen about what's going on, and they're like, okay, well, we need to go and find them. So now Owen and Claire are now going around searching for Zack and Gray, trying to find where they are. Zack and Gray are on the gyrosphere, and they're kind of going around, and at first everything is fine, but then they see that the gate's it's wide open, and it says restricted area, so you're not meant to be going in there. But you know what, Zack was like, let's go in. Like, why you being scared? Let's go in. Exploration. He goes in. It's a big mistake, because that's where the dinosaur is, and it basically attacks this other dinosaur, kills that one, then it starts attacking them in the gyrosphere, but they manage to escape. They escape, and then the Owen and Claire, they're still going around, they're still looking. Eventually they come to the area where they were, and they find the gyrosphere all damaged and broken. Then they find the phone, Zack's phone, that was broken, and Claire starts to get very scared, and she thinks, oh my god, they did. She starts to panic, and then Owen was like, no need to look, we can see they escape, they can see footsteps. So they followed them to to water. Eventually, they end up finding them. They find them, they unite with them, and then what they do is that Owen decides that he wants to go back to where the Velociraptors were, because what ended up happening was Masrani ends up getting killed, and he gets killed in a helicopter accident. He's going to take out the dinosaur because he's realized now that at this point in time we are in danger. A lot of people are in danger, and if you don't take out the dinosaur, people are gonna die. This is gonna affect us really badly. So he goes up in helicopter. They install a machine gun. Doesn't go well for him, and he crashes. The helicopter crashes, and he dies. Then Hoskins decides that he wants to take over operations, and that's what he does. He takes over the control room, and he makes the plan that they're going to use the Velociraptors as a weapon against the Indominus Rex, which of course Owen was against. Anyways, after a little bit of back and forth, he then just he accepts it and says, okay, whatever. At this point, his hands are tied behind his back. He has to, you know what I mean? And so they go and they use the Velociraptors, and at first everything's going fine, they're going, and then they come to a sudden stop, and then the dinosaur appears, and you think, oh my, here we go, it's about to happen, and then they start to communicate. That's when Owen realizes what's going on, because Barry mentions that, hey, something's wrong, and then Owen says, I know why they wouldn't tell anybody what that dinosaur made up of. Barry asks why, and it's because that's part raptor. And as soon as he said that, the Velociraptors turn around and then they attack the people. So they've now basically got a new alpha. Okay, so now the Indominus Rex is the alpha of these Velociraptors, and they're starting to attack everybody now. So eventually they escape. They go, one gets killed, and the other three survive, and then they start running away. They run away, and what they're doing, they head towards the lab. And when they go there, they find that they've already packed up and left. Right, majority of the laboratory stuff has gone, and Claire's become, what's going on here? Why are they doing this? And then Hoskins was there, and he starts talking about, oh, we're gonna make a new dinosaur and whatnot. And then not long after, another Velociraptor just jumps in, and it basically backs Hoskins up against the wall, and it bites his hand off, and I believe it kills him. And then what they do is then they try to run away, but the problem is as soon as they leave the building, right, the main building, they're standing now outside. The three Velociraptors surround them, but when the public, they don't actually attack them. And then that's when the Indominus Rex turns up. So the Indominus turns up, and they start talking, and then the Velociraptors start attacking the Indominus Rex. Then the fight scene is happening, and then Gray's like, we don't have enough teeth. We need more teeth, because they're little, Velociraptors are small, this is a big dinosaur, these little ones, they're not going to be able to do it. And so what happens is that Claire then takes a flare, she opens up paddock 9, I believe that's what it is. So she tells Lowry to open up paddock 9, and that's inside there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this fight is mad. I love this scene. This scene was awesome. And yeah, so that she comes running, she throws the flare at the Indominus, and then they both start fighting one another. And within like 2-3 minutes, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is on the floor, badly beaten, and the Indominus went for the kill. But then one of the Velociraptors that was still alive just stood there, and it roared, and then the Indominus looked up, and it basically attacked the Velociraptor attacks the Indominus, and then the Indominus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex try to team up and start smashing up this. The Indominus gets his ass whooped. Okay, it's a tag team, it's a 2-on-1, and yeah, it really does get his ass whooped. And then in the end, what happens is that the big dinosaur in the water, I forgot what it's called, it basically comes and it drags it back into the water and basically kills it. And then the Tyrannosaurus Rex walks off in his own to do his own thing, and the Velociraptor, the final one that's remaining, goes off to do his own thing, which is a pure madness. Now, the conclusion. So basically, guys, this movie, and my final thoughts are on this movie, okay? This movie is brilliant. I loved it, even today, even though the movie is 7 years old, when I watched it, I still had the same excitement. I still felt the suspense, the thriller was there, the pacing was on point, the dialogue was good, it was action-packed, everything that, makes a Jurassic World / Jurassic Park movie, a Jurassic Park film or a Jurassic World film. This movie has it all, you know what I mean? It has the action, it has the suspense, it has the thriller, it has the the edginess to it, it has the pacing, the dialogue is good, the characters are good, the development of the characters is good, the storyline is good, the plot is pretty good. I love this film. It might be 7 years old, but I absolutely love this film, and I think it's brilliant. And maybe next week we might do the second one and talk about that one. But anyways, guys, so now I want to look at the rating. So let's look at the rating of this film. So on IMDb, this film has a 7 out of 10. I am going to give this film an 8.5 out of 10. It could have been better, obviously, because, it's been 7 years. There are some, aspects of this film I think could have been better. But you know what? I enjoyed it. It's a very fun film to watch. Still entertains you. It's still, it's still very edgy, for a lot of the movie. Ever from from the minute that the Indominus Rex escapes, you are on the edge. I'm not joking. You are literally on the edge of your seat. It's very, very nail biting, very, very fun, very, very suspenseful. It's literally a thriller, and man, it is honestly a joy to watch that film, and I'm so happy that I reviewed the film. I loved it. So now that's the end of the video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Turn on the bell notification, join the family, because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers before 2023. And yeah, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this review. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.